Good morning, good morning, good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Well, you know, it's Resurrection Weekend, so I know people have busy schedules on Resurrection Weekend, so we're not gonna stay long. We're gonna handle business and we're gonna move on. But I do have a question. I can kind of answer the question for myself, but I'll just put it out there. Were the three of you on the Zoom we did with the Faithful Families?
No, and I tried to log on, but I wasn't able to.
All 6
Oh,
weeks?
the Faithful Families every Tuesday night after Bible
Yeah, the
study.
Tuesday night.
Oh, yeah, no, I didn't do that one.
You didn't do, Sister
No.
Leslie?
No,
Sister
I didn't
Yvonne,
either.
you
Yes,
do
I
it?
did it.
You
Yeah,
did it,
I was
okay.
on.
Okay, Sister Leslie, what were you just saying? I'm sorry.
No, I said I didn't do it.
You didn't do it, okay.
Mhm.
Because I was gonna ask you for your feedback and tell me what you thought of it. But Sister Yvonne, you were the only one on?
I was the only one on, I guess, out of this group.
That's okay. We know we got a lot going on. You know, the ladies on this group are busy. They are busy, busy, busy. But let me ask you real quick, what was your take?
I enjoyed it. You know, especially the nutritional stuff, which I don't remember. So I have to keep looking back at the papers. But it was enjoyable.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I wanted to do today, and I think this is kind of would you believe we've been doing this for 2 years now? Would you believe literally it's been almost 2 years, because we started March of 2020?
Right?
It was. I'm not crazy, right? Okay.
No, it's
Okay. So we've been
2
doing this.
years.
We've been doing this for 2 years. Oh my gosh. So one of the things that I wanted to get, and then we didn't, hey, Sister Susan, and then we didn't get it, you know, we weren't on last month. So one of the things I really, really, really wanted to ask you, every so often I ask you this question, but what direction should we be going in? What is it that you really, I know plant-based. I haven't put down plant-based for Sister Susan. I ain't put down plant-based yet, but I think it's hard to talk about something you don't do.
Well, I have to tell you, Beth.
Yes, dear.
The other day I got some plant-based, was it chicken? Right. Some chicken, and I ate it. It was very, very good. I sauteed it up. In fact, I made, I ground it up first, and then I made stuff for tacos for Ariel. I made it so that she could use it as nachos. She really enjoyed it. She says, I could use that. But then afterward, I started having palpitations, and I looked at it and it was made out of soy. And I said, no, I don't think I should have this because I'm on so much different medication. I'm on blood thinners and stuff for thyroid and everything else. And everything that I read said, no, you're not supposed to have it, but it did taste good.
Well, it is true. It does taste good. And a plant-based diet from there's all different ones. And if anybody that was on the Zoom for the Faithful Family, somebody came on and talked about being a flexitarian, and everybody kind of giggled at being a flexitarian. But you know, that's probably the closest I can tell you I could get is to being a flexitarian.
Me too.
Yeah, because we have to be, when you're a strict vegan or a strict vegetarian, because there's all different categories of vegetarian, by the way. There are people who are veg, and then the other thing is you got to kind of know, and I ask all the time, why are you a vegetarian? Okay, because that vegetarian is a very loose category. Why are you a vegetarian? Some people are vegetarian for health reasons. And some people choose to go the vegetarian route for philosophical reasons. And there is a difference in the way people eat based on what perspective they're coming from, whether they're vegetarian for health reasons versus vegetarian for philosophical reasons. Now, my daughter-in-law is a vegan for philosophical reasons, okay? She wouldn't hurt any animal in the world. And when I say philosophical, those are usually people who come from the perspective that you're harming somebody's baby. Okay, animals have feelings too, and I agree with that. I have animals, but haven't quite been able to go to that place. So what I find is sometimes when we're vegetarian for philosophical reasons, we don't necessarily do the deep dive into it. We just say, okay, I'm just staying away from all animal-based products. That's it. But we don't know as much, or we don't tend to do as much about it because we're coming from the perspective of, I'm just not eating any animal-based products. When people are vegetarian for health reasons, they tend to do a little bit more of a deep dive. They tend to be a little more mindful. Now, these are generalizations, okay? Understand, there's people that come from every perspective, but they tend to be a little more mindful. They tend to be more interested, like Sister Yvonne, when she was reading packages and all of this. You're not just reading to see, does it have an animal product in it? You're also reading coming from the perspective, how does it impact my health? Because one I need you guys to know is, and I'm glad you brought that up, and I kind of brought it up a little bit on the Faithful Family Zoom. Different foods can impact medications that we may be taking or health conditions that we may have. So we do have to be mindful. That's why you'll always hear me talk about variety and moderation. Sister Susan, you smiling. Go ahead, say something, girl.
Oh, I'm sorry. My husband was just asking me, are you nutrtionist? And I was shaking my head, yes. He's listening. He's on his way out to the gym, but he's listening.
Oh, well, tell him, hey.
He is. He said, hi.
I'm a little bit disappointed though, you smiling at him and not at me. Oh, dang, got it. But we do have to be mindful that foods can interact with our medication. Foods do impact our health for the better and for the not so good. Okay, so I got off on that tangent because of plant-based. So anyway, plant-based, some people can talk about being a pescatarian, which means they'll eat basically plant-based, but they'll eat fish and seafood. Some people are lacto-ovo vegetarians, so they will drink milk, they will eat eggs, but they won't eat any, they won't eat any flesh kind of products. Some people are, what else? Flexitarian, which means I'm kind of flexible. One day I might do this and another day I might do something else. But they try to be majority vegetarian, but they're not totally off of meat and meat products. I'm trying to think of some of the other words I've heard. I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot. And some people are vegetarian, meaning they're just going to eat vegetables and fruits and things like that, things grown in the ground. So there's a lot of different reasons, and there's a lot of different reasons I haven't done that yet, but I do have it on to do. I'd like to have somebody come on who truly practices vegetarian or veganism so that they could do it, so that they could talk to you from a personal perspective. I can talk to you from the clinical perspective, but I would love also for somebody to talk to you from a personal perspective. So if you happen to know anybody, let me know. Send me their name so I can kind of talk to them and see if that might be somebody appropriate to talk to our group. Would that be something that you're interested in? Y'all don't say yes because Beth said yes. Say yes because you really, this is what you want, okay? This is about y'all. Talk to me.
I'll listen to it.
You'll listen to it, okay?
Yeah, because in fact, Ariel was never ever a big meat eater. So she enjoys eating some of this. In fact, today I think we're going to have what I think they call it trumpet mushrooms.
Yes.
Or something like that.
Yes.
And
yes.
I did have some of those a few weeks ago, and they tasted like fried chicken.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they were very, very good.
Yep.
So I probably could eat things that are not real meat, but not
Not
anything with
soy-based.
soy, right?
Mhm. Okay. Sister Susan, you want to say something? And then Sister Leslie.
Yeah, I am, like, I think we said in the family, Faithful Families, that I tend, in terms of vegetarian or eating non-meat foods, if I can't like pronounce the ingredients in it, then I tend not to want to eat it because I don't understand it. So I don't
Okay.
want to understand stuff that, I don't want to eat stuff that I don't understand, that I can't pronounce the ingredients. And some of those impossible stuff, I don't know what that is. So I have to go like multiple dictionaries to figure it out. And I'll just say, forget it. So like my brother, my brother is a vegan. He's been a vegan for years. I think that started because his sugar started getting high. It's my family, my family history. And I would like to learn how to eat. I guess I'm a flexitarian too, but I would like to learn how to eat vegetarian cooking without, because I'll buy the frozen veggie Trader Joe's, patties. But, I would like to cook in a way that is vegetarian myself, without having to go to the Impossibles or the frozen Trader Joe's burgers or whatever. That's what and I don't do that now. I tend to do like the Trader Joe's vegan stuff. And I don't know if I can pronounce that either.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So that's the thing. That's one of the things. I mentioned this to the pastor and he was like, yeah, okay, Susan. I mentioned to him one time having like a health and wellness ministry that kind of was like what we did with Faithful Families, where it combined both what the exercise part of it and the nutrition part of it. I don't know how that would work, but I thought that was like, that program was really successful for everybody.
Hey, Aunt Beth.
Hi, sweetheart. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Long time no
Good.
talk. So like Mom
Good.
said, I've never really been much of a meat eater. In fact, yesterday, everybody's getting their fish sandwiches. I decided not to get fried fish. I decided to get grilled flounder.
Okay. Okay.
It actually was really, really good.
Okay.
Got it from the fish market. But as far as like the plant-based chicken options, we've tried one by a brand called Delicio, and their ingredients are wheat protein, pea protein, mung bean protein, bamboo fiber, yeast extract, dried garlic, dried onion, spice extract, cyanocobalamin, and methylcellulose. So there's wheat, but there's no sodium in it. There's no soy in it.
Okay. Now, cyanocobalamin, is that what you're saying to me?
Yes, that's the last ingredient on the list.
Okay. Cyanocobalamin is actually B12.
Okay, so B12, yeah.
Okay, so that's the and to be honest with you, that's probably a great product in terms of this. One of the things that is missing in a plant-based diet, there's several nutrients that can be a little touchy because you really can't get them out of a plant-based diet, and one of them is B12. But our body does need B12. So if we don't have B12, we are not getting enough B12, we can wind up with with a particular type of anemia.
Gotcha.
All right. So many times when we're vegan, vegetarian, that's what I was saying. We have to be mindful that it's not just throwing veggies in a pan and saying, whoops, this is all I eat is veggies. We have to be very mindful of how we're putting all of that together. One of the things that when people are truly vegan, if they're mindful, they eat brewer's yeast. You'll see brewer's yeast because that does have the B12. But so we have to be careful when there's some words we can't pronounce, it's for a reason, but that's just straight up B12. All right.
Okay.
So that sounds like a good product. Sister Leslie, what were you going to say?
My daughter who lives in Pennsylvania, she was a vegan for a while, but she doesn't cook. She doesn't cook any, I mean, I don't know.
Okay. She's a non-cooker.
She's a non-cooker.
Okay.
And so she was buying whatever it was that she was
Mhm.
gonna eat, like from Wegmans or from, they had another vegan store and stuff like that. But I guess after a while, she just got bored with it.
Mhm.
So, she's back being, I guess, a flexitarian.
A flexitarian, okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
because see, that's one of the things. If you are a cook and you cook, you can do wonderful things with a vegetarian diet or a vegan diet. But if you are not, if you're a
Yeah.
person who's just doing like the fast food things, it does become repetitive. It does become boring. A lot of the products, some of the products you're finding is moving away from soy as the main protein base. Like a lot of times when you're looking at like Morningstar and the crumbles, the first thing that came out that were vegetarians, vegetarian items that were imitating meat products were based on soy. And as you heard Sister Yvonne say, everybody can't handle that. Soy has a lot of natural estrogen in it. That's what was interacting with your meds and different things. So we have to be mindful. We can't overdo anything. I love the fact that you went to trumpet mushrooms. Mushrooms are a great meat substitute, believe it or not. The larger varieties, y'all help me. The one that my mind is not helping me with, the real portobello, trumpet mushroom, shiitake, all of these, they can be great meat substitutes because they have the texture, somewhat of the texture of meat. But that's why I want to get somebody who's really well-versed. I can tell you from the clinical perspective, but who's really well-versed in this. Another thing, so that was one thing we still are working on doing. Is there anything else anybody, because Faithful Families, but you may have other questions. I found that on Faithful Family, a lot of people were interested in weight loss. Is that something that is important to you guys?
Yeah, a little important, but I don't want to do the exercise.
So weight loss without exercise, is that what we're trying to say?
Yes.
Is that, some people, I'm not going to talk about you, girl. Okay, but so weight loss or weight maintenance. At this point in our lives, sometimes we need to talk about weight maintenance because with everything else, with other things as we mature, could let's just tell the truth. Other than Susan, the rest of us may be in a category where we are in our golden years. We're vintage. I love vintage. Vintage things, they get better with time. Okay, they mature. We like fine wine. So we like fine wine. So sometimes when you like fine wine, we need to work on things to maintain our weight, a healthy weight. Because I see Sister Paulette, let me just say this, because of number one, meds that we may be taking, they may interfere with how we eat. I had a total hip replacement in January. Wound up getting a little bit of an infection in that hip because I thought I could do too much. I was grown. Boy, I got out that hospital, had it on Monday, came out on Tuesday, and I was in the mall on Thursday. So, oh yeah, I could, the way, things have advanced. So literally, I left the hospital with a walker, started PT on Wednesday. By Thursday, I haven't walked with anything since 4 days after my surgery because they did it from the front. They didn't have to cut muscles like when we do it from the back of the side. So I have been totally independent walking 4 days after my surgery. But when I got that little bit of infection, I've been on antibiotics for the last 6 weeks. It has impacted the way I eat because, they make you kind of nauseous and you're so sometimes medications will impact your eating. Also our dentures, some of us, they belong to us because we paid for them. But as you mature, the structure of your mouth changes. If you lose weight, your dentures don't fit as well. If you gain weight, your dentures don't fit as well. But you know what? They're not cheap. So you're not going to every every time they kind of get a little loose or whatever, we're not running out to say, oh, I need to replace these. I'm just being, we could talk real, right? We could talk real. Sometimes we become a little more limited in getting to the food store, getting to where we need to go. So we don't go to the food store as often. Or if you're now living by yourself, I'm not going to cook as often because I'm just cooking for one person. I don't get the joy out of it anymore. Something my husband brought to my attention, I never thought about it. So far, I've been blessed. These are mine, like the ones I was born with. But he does have an upper plate. And he said, I don't taste food the way I used to taste food. So if you're not tasting the food, does it give you the excitement of, oh, I can't wait to eat? So a lot of those things impact our health. They impact how we eat food. So that is definitely something with weight loss or weight maintenance that we may need to talk about. What else? When you do
There's an old saying that, and I don't agree with it. There's an old saying that goes, you can never be too thin or too rich. But I think that as you age, I think you can be too thin. I think you do need, this is what I was reading, that, you tend to be, you may have some balance issues as you age, and the extra meat or the extra weight that you have on might help you should you run into balance issues. That's what I read.
That's a good thought.
Like if you tend to fall, you're gonna fall on something. You're gonna fall on.
Listen, believe me.
If you fall and you're super thin, I
100% get you. The other thing that happens when when you may be super thin, maybe you're not getting the nutrients that you need, so the bones are also more brittle. But remember, and I have to laugh with you because when you say you need more meat, if we tend to be overweight, it ain't meat we're falling on, it's fat. But that's okay, because fat is important, believe it or not, in regulating body temperature. People who are too thin get very cold. By the way, Yvonne, you said you're on blood thinners. You may feel cold a lot on blood thinners. Okay, so again, all of these things play a part. Sister Paulette, I saw your hand, girl. You know I ain't forgot you. What's up, babe?
No. We were, listen, I can just sit here and listen. I'm a happy camper. But what I was, the weight maintenance. Now I can only speak for little chunky me. And, this 2 years of COVID-19 pandemic, not going out and circulating and doing the things that I normally would do. I started this pandemic at 200 pounds.
Okay.
All right, 200 pounds, because I go see my doctor every 3 months.
Okay.
200 pounds when this pandemic started. I have put on 29 pounds in 2 years. And my eating has not increased. I'm just not doing the things that I would normally be doing. I'm not out walking. I'm not, I'm on the second floor right now. I have 14 steps to come up and go down. It takes me a long time. I mean, I'm not struggling or anything. I'm not out of breath or not, but 29 extra pounds
makes a difference
on this short frame is ridiculous. And doing what I need to do, trying to do what I need to do to get rid of it, because I was happy at 200 pounds. I mean, that's still chunky, but it's a more manageable chunky than the 229.
During the pandemic, yes, we have tend to cut back our exercise. We have tend to cut back, and many times during the pandemic, even though we are kind of eating the same amount, we have changed a lot with eating habits. Sometimes we're doing some stress eating that we don't know nothing about. You're not really conscious of the amounts maybe. or the types of food that we're eating has changed a little bit. Now, the other thing is the lack of exercise, because yes, you were one of them folks always on the go. You would do with Boy Scouts, you were chasing, I shouldn't say chasing, that's not a good word. Because
Yes, no,
I felt like I was chasing Nikki and Freddie when they were young, you were chasing around after Steven. You were doing all those things and you don't realize how many calories you burn. If you had a scale that, the old scale, like the scales of justice, you know what I'm talking about, where they have do. Okay, so if you put intake on one side, intake is whatever you're eating, drinking, whatever that has calories. And on the other side of the scale, you put outgo. Outgo is your exercise, burning calories. And when I say exercise, I don't necessarily mean we're doing calisthenics or aerobics. I mean just walking up and down those stairs. Getting out and going food shopping, being in the food store, going food shopping. We all tended to go to the food store less because I don't want to be exposed. Or we might have been doing the drive up shopping, do your list online and, just roll up and pick it up. So you would be amazed how many calories. I know me, I can burn in a food store because I'm gonna walk every aisle in the food store because I'm nosy like that. I like seeing what's new and let me see what I might try. Those are calories out. So the bottom line is anytime this scale should be theoretically to maintain our weight, this scale should be balanced. Now there are other things that, impact, but in general, the simplistic thing is this scale should be balanced. Intake, outgo. All right. But when something drops and the other thing, even if it remains the same, so we're getting less exercise, so we're burning less calories. So even though maybe what you're intaking is remaining the same, it's still tipping the scale in favor of gaining weight. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
Absolutely.
So basically for every 3,500 calories that you take in more than you exercise, you gain a pound. For every 3,500 calories that you take in less than what you're putting out in exercise, you lose a pound. So we've changed a lot of habits during the pandemic, some of them conscious and some of them very unconscious, that have led for most people to gain weight. So how do we rectify that? Is there anything that we can do to get out more? And believe me, like when I went to yesterday, I went to the doctor, and for all these antibiotics, they sent me to an infectious disease doctor, right? So she's a cute little thing. She's about 5 feet tall and she's Irish. So I love to hear her brogue. But when I go in the office, the first thing she always says is, so now what are we going to do with our booster? I'm going to take the booster, doctor. Very good. Okay, what are we going to do with this? I mean, she's very infectious disease. So I say that to say, she said, now, yesterday, she said, your mask. What are you doing with your mask? Are you still wearing your mask? I said, yes, doctor.
Yeah.
They're wearing my mask. She
Yeah.
said, very good. She said, because you know what's happening now? She said, yeah, COVID may be going down, but you know what's rising? She said, people are starting to get more flu because they've been so worried about the pandemic and COVID, they haven't been taking care of themselves when it comes to the flu. So people are starting to get more flu. So you need to be wearing your mask.
But that makes sense. But my primary is on top of her game, and if she's not, this is me. I'm going to be on top of my game. Every September, I have my flu. I have my I'm getting ready for my next booster when St. Matthew does it next week. My pneumonia, because that's every 5 years. So I have my flu, I have my pneumonia, and then because I had shingles at the start of this pandemic, then I'm also getting my shingle shot because I don't want to have that again. That's no fun at all. But I love your doctor because she's doing what my doctor does. She's not letting me fall between the cracks, and I'm gonna stay on her. Well, hello, this is this, that, and the third. And I'm only on like 3 medications. And that's it. And I'm telling her, I'm not taking any more medications. If it can't be done naturally, then I'm not doing it unless I have something really serious that, you know, forces me to. Because you met my mother. My mother, when she passed away, was on 14 medications. No human body needs to be taking 14 medications.
Mhm.
Nobody.
You're right. You're right. That is, that's rough, and it's rough on the body. Sister Leslie, I kind of saw your hand, and I get what you're saying. So,
Oh, no, I was with weight loss and medication. How much weight do you have to lose that you can come off of it?
well, it depends on the medication. So if we're talking about, and there's a lot of factors that go into it, but if you're talking about diabetes medication, what kind of medication?
No, the doctor just put me on high blood pressure.
High blood pressure. Okay.
Yeah.
So the thing of it is, what we say usually, if weight can be a factor in certain medications, and weight is not a factor in other medications. So in something like high blood pressure can stem from a lot of different reasons. But one of the general rules we kind of say is we try to shoot for a 10% weight loss. So it doesn't have to be a huge amount of weight, but we tend to shoot for a 10% weight loss. So let's say you're 200 pounds. If you're 200 pounds, a 10% weight loss is about 20 pounds. All right. So that's one thing. Yes, weight will help if we are, if we take that weight off, that's less stress on the heart. Okay. But there could be other reasons that we have high blood pressure going on. Sometimes it could be stress or anxiety. These last 2 years have not been easy mentally on anybody. In the beginning, to even go out in the street, it was like, okay, I got to have my mask, got to have my sanitizer, I got to do this. I got to stay 6 feet, got to be mindful. And even now, when you go out, you're still mindful. Nobody's going out carefree, like, woo, I can just do what I want. You're kind of like, okay, I'm going to go to this food store, but I'm not trying to get in contact with a whole lot of people. So there's a lot of stress and stuff going on that we're not even mindful of. We've kind of adapted over the last 2 years, but your body, when you go out, you're mentally, we talked about fight, flight, or freeze. You're mentally in flight mode, if you think about it, because you have this hyper awareness that you didn't have 2 years ago about who's around me. Ooh, if somebody sneezes, haven't you done this? Somebody sneezes, you kind of go, why are they sneezing?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So your body is always in this hyper alertness state. Those things can make blood pressure go up. Another thing is and it's up to you. You don't have to. I'm not asking people to reveal their medical whatever. But a lot of times if people have diabetes, okay, especially African Americans, doctor will automatically put you on a blood pressure medication and a cholesterol medication, especially men. Okay, African American men. And you're like, well, my blood pressure is fine. Why are you doing this? Well, some blood pressure medications actually have a protective effect on the kidneys. And the kidneys are one of those things that can cause a major problem with uncontrolled diabetes. Okay, they can start acting up, shutting down, not processing that way. So if you're on that medication because it's protective, that's another thing that we would have to look at. So there could be a lot of reasons you're on it, but as far as body weight is concerned, usually we say a 10% can make a big difference in medications that you're on. But if stress is a thing, you got to work on some stress reduction things too. Oh, and by the way, Most people are not sodium sensitive, by the way. We do tell people you got to reduce your sodium. Some people reducing the sodium can make a big impact on their blood sugar. Other people, you reduce your sodium level and you're like, well, my blood pressure is still elevated. You may not be one of those people that's sodium sensitive. It's still a good idea to lower your sodium intake, but I'm just saying by going salt-free, you may or may not see a huge difference in your blood pressure. Somebody was going to ask a question.
It was
Yeah,
me.
Beth.
Oops, sorry.
Okay, I got two of you. So, sisters, let me do Sister Susan and then you, Sister Yvonne.
Sister Beth, was your original question, how do we see the nutrition class moving forward?
Yes, go ahead.
So a couple of things that I probably would want to review. I think you did it, but honestly,
It's okay.
So like you mentioned mindful eating and like, what is that? You know, like mindful
Say that again. What
eating?
kind of eating?
Mindful.
Mindful eating. Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind reviewing that. I wouldn't mind reviewing, you know, labels, reading labels, because
Okay.
sometimes I get a little confused about that. What was the other thing? How do we incorporate in a interesting way, especially for my husband more than for me, because I'm not a foodie at all. I'll just eat some vegetables and some carbs and I'm good. But how do you incorporate eating like 5 to 7 vegetables, fruits and vegetables in a way that's interesting? Like they say, you're supposed to eat 5 to 7 fruits and vegetables a day, right? Like, how do you incorporate that into your daily eating? That tastes good as well as is good for you.
Okay, that's an easy one. That's actually an easy one. Okay.
So
Okay.
in terms of classes, that's what I think, because I do struggle a little bit with that for Dan, for my husband, not so much for me.
Okay, you guys, this is what, to be honest with you, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for, as you answer questions, because we've always kind of done a little free flow thing. So as you ask me questions, I do try to answer them, but this is what I'm looking for. What do we do going forward? I love the fact you said, okay, we've done this 2 years. Maybe I need a refresher in certain things. So this gives me a direction to go that you are interested in, topics that you want to hear. Sister Yvonne, you said something, and then I'm gonna call on Sister Wanda. Hold you, be thinking, Sister Wanda, because I haven't heard from you. So Sister Yvonne, and then I'm gonna call on Sister Wanda.
Is it true that a lot of medications put weight on you?
It's true that some medications can make you gain weight, yes.
Right. And so if you continue with those medications, it seems to be very hard to get that weight off, because it's not weight where you're eating to put that weight on. It's the medication that's putting the weight on you.
It's a combination of things. So what you may have to do is you may have to change some of the eating patterns.
Okay.
Okay, to be honest with you. But yes, some medications can make you gain weight. So if you look at the commercials now, because if you notice something that's happening now in the last, well, probably be 10 years now, drug manufacturers are advertising on commercials, and they're actually, you know, we got Dupixent and we got this and we got that, and we got the other, and they're advertising to you so that you'll go into your doctor and say, can I try that? I need to try that. I'm having this problem, blah, 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 blah. And okay, let's face it, it's a financial ploy. They want more people asking for certain medications. But one of the things they always talk about in those commercials, they will not make you gain weight. We haven't found any substantial weight gain, or we haven't because some medications have in the past increased weight in people. Sister Wanda, I want to hear from you.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Happy Resurrection Day.
Good morning. Happy Resurrection Eve to you. Yes.
Right. Yeah, I enjoy these sessions so much. They give me, they encourage me. And one thing that I want to add is having a good relationship with your doctor. And I have a good relationship with my doctor. She had me on medications, and I had a flare up of kind of muscle pain, so I was taking colchicine. And I was also taking it was the Lipitor. And my pharmacist, I had those two prescriptions, for quite a while. I never took them together because I didn't take the colchicine on any regular basis. But the pharmacist asked me if I was taking those two within 24 hours. And I said, yes. And he said, well, don't do that anymore. So with all these portals that we have, I sent a note to my doctor and she said it's kind of put it up to me to stop taking the Lipitor, and that my next blood test, she will see what my numbers are and she might take me off of it. So I'm off of that medication because of my caution from my pharmacist rather than from my doctor. And then when I told her, what the pharmacist said, she kind of agreed with him to a point. But I'm just saying all that to say that we have to constantly ask questions. And,
Exactly.
I would still be taking those two medications, not knowing, what the harm would be if it had not been for my pharmacist and for me not to follow through with my doctor to see what she had to say. So,
100%.
That's
And
another
from,
topic.
that's another topic. Okay. So, but what have I always said to everybody on here? Besides your doctor, your pharmacist is your best friend. And I know one of the hot trends lately, because we all trying to save money. I mean, the cost of everything has gone up and up and up. Every time you go to the grocery store, the one benefit I have found of doing my list online and sending it to the grocery store and going and picking it up, I do that once in a while. I spend less money. Cause see, then the eye buys. I'm not, oh, let me try this. Oh, let me get this. Oh, I forgot about that. If I do the order online and somebody else is shopping for me, I don't spend as much money. But I like the food store too much, so I've kind of given that up. But anyway, now they have, Single Care, and there's another one, Good RX, I think is the other one, where they're saying, you go online and you shop for the cheapest prescription, and we all are looking to save money. Don't get me wrong. Shop for the cheapest prescription, and different pharmacies will have your medication at different costs. That's all well and good, but nobody's overlooking this drug-drug interaction or this drug-food interaction. And let me tell you, a drug-drug interaction can be very serious. Colchicines for gout, correct?
yes.
Okay, so you're taking that medication for gout. Sometimes it's so far in between that doctors are prescribing medication that they forget that, oh, she's on that and I'm putting her on, they're dealing with the moment. At this moment, she's having a gout attack. I need to get her on something for gout, but I forgot she was on Lipitor. That's one of the main jobs of a pharmacist, to look for drug-drug interactions or even drug-food interactions. That's another reason I said to you, though herbs and all of that are good, and what am I saying? Like in the drugstore, you can go get all these vitamins and supplements. That's the word I'm looking for. St. John's wort is good for this, and blah, blah, blah is good for that, and ginkgo biloba is good for this. There are interactions between those over-the-counter medications, over-the-counter supplements, and your medications. So even if you're buying something that's over-the-counter, all of the pharmacies, they have a little consultation window. Y'all have seen it, where you can talk to the pharmacist directly. If you're buying something that's over the counter, an over-the-counter supplement that you've never tried before, go to the pharmacist window. Hopefully it's the pharmacist at your regular pharmacy where you take all your medications. Go to the pharmacist window and say, I was thinking about taking turmeric. I was thinking about taking these turmeric capsules. Can you look it up with the medications that I'm on? Is this okay? He'll do that for you. If he's a good pharmacist, he will do that for you. If he's not a good pharmacist and he don't have time to talk to you, move your medication. Because there can be, with something as simple as turmeric, too much of it can cause a problem with some medications. You don't want to be on turmeric and taking a blood thinner. Okay, so thank you, Sister Wanda, for bringing that up. Your pharmacist is your second best friend. Your doctor's your first, your pharmacist is your second best friend. No, let me back up. You are your best friend, then the doctor, then the pharmacist. Because I love the fact that you went in and you said, hey, the pharmacist told me this. I need to talk to you about that. That's a good point to bring up. So Sister Susan, when you said that's a good topic, tell me what the name of that topic is, because I don't know what to write down.
Yeah, that's a good question. I have to think about that.
Okay, pharmaceuticals, C.
Yeah.
P-I-C-A-L-S. Okay, drug food interactions. And when y'all get a prescription, please read the labels on the bottle. Everybody read the labels on their bottle. They get the prescription. Read the label. Make sure the dosage is what you should be taking. Once a day, twice a day, 3 times a day, whatever. Make sure that you read those little things on the side that say, you know, like I'm on Cipro right now, the antibiotic. I shouldn't be out, you know, now is not with the antibiotic. I can't go out there and sunbathe. Remember, I live in the desert, so I try to do what I need to do and come on back in the house. But if I don't read that little instruction on the bottle, I may not know that. So make sure you're reading the entire label. Okay. That's a good one.
Sister Beth.
Yes.
So I know that your husband was in the military.
Yes.
Did you ever live in Italy?
No.
Okay, I asked because me and my husband and I were talking about, so we're going to Italy next month because my daughter's there on an abroad program. And
Nice.
she sends back pictures of the food. Amazing. Like, oh my gosh. I don't know what I'm gonna do. But anyway.
You will find that the different parts of Italy, the food is totally different. There is no one Italian food.
Right. That's what my research has been telling me. But it's like when they talk about a Mediterranean as a topic, when they talk about a Mediterranean diet and that we should eat a Mediterranean, you know, me must be like, well, what is a Mediterranean? I mean, I could go and look it up, I guess. But it was like, what is a Mediterranean? Where did it come from? Like, is that Spain or is that Italy? Or is that like parts of Spain, parts of Italy?
It's kind of that whole area surrounding the Mediterranean Sea. And basically a Mediterranean diet is what they've done in years is they've gone and looked at different cultures, the way people eat. And they said, what is it about? Well, first they look at longevity. Wow, we got people here, their average age is like 90 and 100 when they pass away.
This is a topic, I think.
I put down Mediterranean diet.
Yeah.
And they're living longer, they're healthier, they're not having the kinds of problems we're having in the US. What's different about their diet?
Right.
Okay. And so they've looked at Asian diets, they've looked at Mediterranean diets, they've looked at our diets. You know, our diet is they call it the SAD diet, but anyway, that's another topic. Standard American diet is what SAD means. It doesn't help us live a whole lot longer. But what they find in the Mediterranean diets, number one, olive oil. They use a lot of olives and olive oil. Olive oil is a monounsaturated fat. It helps to lower cholesterol levels. Number two, one of the things that they find is they eat a lot of fresh foods, fresh vegetables. They're not using as much processed. They're using the Mediterranean diet. They're looking at more fruits and vegetables. Okay. Another thing is with the Mediterranean diet, and with most cultures around the world, by the way, meat is what's the word I'm looking for? Like even if you look in the Asian diets, meat is the supplement. Like when we plan our meal, we say, what do you usually do? What meat am I having tonight? Okay, I'm gonna have chicken. Okay, what goes with the chicken? Or I'm having fish. What goes with the fish? That's how we normally plan our diet in the US, most of us. In other cultures, they say, okay, we're having rice, we're having whatever, and the meat becomes the complement. The meat becomes kind of the meat is the side dish. In America, the meat is the main dish, and we plan around it. So they tend to eat less meat and meat products, you know, so there's a whole thing to the Mediterranean diet. So we can definitely go over the Mediterranean diet, and it's a healthy diet. It really is. Okay, I got it. Mediterranean diet. Anything else? Oh, and to answer your question, I think that's one of the places that my love of food came from. No, I never had the opportunity to live in Europe. My husband has been to Germany several times, stationed in Germany. When my husband was in the service, Hawaii was considered an overseas assignment. So we did 2 tours in Hawaii. We did 8 years in Hawaii. And it's so funny because where I live now in Las Vegas is actually considered the 9th aisle. So there are so many people here from Hawaii. My neighbors across the street are from Oahu. My neighbors next to them are from Maui. So I feel like I'm back home because there's so many Hawaiian families here. We do a lot of, they do a lot of things. They have luau's and they do, what's the word I'm looking for? Festivals, Hawaiian festivals, hula halau. So I feel like I'm back at home.
Nice home.
Yeah, nice home. And then I lived in Louisiana. So of course I love to make gumbo and all those kinds of dishes, red beans and rice. So every place I live, I really tried to learn what the cuisine of what the cuisine of the area was. And so I still cook that way. Do you, the other thing is when we first started, I did, if y'all remember, we did, it was hilarious to me, but we did the smoothies. Remember I did a smoothie thing where I made all different kinds of smoothies for you? We all on at that point in time. I'm not, you know, Julia Child or anything, but we can talk about some different ways to incorporate items into food. One of the things that I had thought about doing actually was taking a product, I thought chicken, and just doing maybe a couple of different dishes from around the world. Because, you know, everybody eats chicken. They may call it something different, but everybody eats chicken, but they eat it in a different way. So that was one of the things that I thought about doing. Incorporating herbs. How many people are using herbs and spices, different herbs and spices? Okay, I see it. I see it. I got 2 people. I got 2 hands. That's it. Come on, guys. There's more life than
I'm learning.
you're
I'm
learning. Yeah, okay, learning is important. That is the most important thing. One of the most exciting things, I'll have to show you, I'll take a picture and show it to you next time. One of the most exciting things that I was able to do when I moved into my house was to create a spice drawer. So I literally have a spice drawer that's probably like this wide with as many spices as I can think of. And I'll tell you who has some very interesting spices, by the way, is Trader Joe's. If you have a Trader Joe's in your area and you have not been in their spice department, you have not, you're just missing out, let me tell you. Paulette, you talking or shaking fingers or doing
No,
something?
I'm waiting for you to finish talking because both of us can't talk at the same
Go
time.
ahead. No, I didn't know if
I
you were
love,
but
no, I love watching cooking shows and DIY shows. Okay.
Mhm.
Now the cooking shows, from little being a teenager, Julia Child and the English guy always talking about,
Graham Care.
that's him, spices, depending on how, make believe you're in a chemistry class, and the spices that you use to prepare your food You know, the more spices you use, the more flavor you're gonna have in your food. Salt, pepper, garlic salt, onion salt, paprika, cayenne, turmeric. You know, the more you use, the better your flavors.
Mhm.
And so I'm like you. Every time I go into a store and I see something new, I say, okay, let me go try that and stuff. And it's just wonderful. I love
Oh.
chemistry in the kitchen.
Yeah, chemistry, and because you know what, that's what cooking really is chemistry and physics. So, you know, Trader Joe's I mentioned because they have, now I have one of the seasons they have that I love is called everything but the elote. And basically it's a corn seasoning. Like when you making corn, like, okay, it's summer, grilled corn, or you can make, you know, your boiled corn or whatever, but it's all the seasonings for corn in this, you know, in this one seasoning. They have one called everything but the leftovers. And it's all the seasonings that you use at Thanksgiving time, you know, your stuffing and all of that, and that flavor, it's all of that. So try different spices. How many people make chicken salad? Regular old plain chicken salad, turkey salad, chicken salad. Okay, have you ever tried putting curry powder in your chicken salad? Whole different flavor, different color, but it's really, really good. You got to do it to your taste buds. So, you know, put a little bit in, mix your salad and then taste it. Oh, okay. Maybe I could use a little bit more.
You do it with mayonnaise? Or, oh, okay. All right.
Mayonnaise. This is my chicken salad. Rotisserie chicken, by the way, is my best friend. But mayonnaise, I use celery, I use, you know, chopped celery, chopped onions. I put craisins in my chicken salad and pecans. I don't like walnuts as much, so I use chopped pecans. I put that in my chicken salad, and then a little bit of salt, pepper, of course. You got to have a little bit of that. And then I put in some curry powder, and I have a ball with it. So it's just experimenting. Another way to experiment is to make salads. You can put anything in a salad. Okay, you can clear out your refrigerator and nothing spoiled, guys, nothing spoiled. But you can put anything in the refrigerator. I was looking at Good Morning America the other day, and this lady was saying she has saved so much money by having a bin in her refrigerator, and I think she calls it her must-use bin. So when you open something and you only use a portion of it or whatever, she puts it in that must-use bin, and she pulls out that bin every day. And she says, okay, how am I going to incorporate some of these things into my meal? And then she says, I don't have any waste. I don't have any spoilage. I'm not throwing things away. I don't know about the rest of y'all, but sometimes when I clean out that refrigerator, it makes me want to cry. Things that were in the back of the refrigerator, I forgot, I didn't see. Oh my gosh, I got to go buy some more. Be creative in using your leftovers. Be real creative in using your leftovers. Maybe that will make somebody who lives by themselves that doesn't want to cook so much, maybe that'll make it a little more appetizing for you, because you know you're not going to waste anything. It got quiet all of a sudden. Sister Leslie, what you gonna say?
I'm good for that, going back into the refrigerator and going, oh my goodness. What is this?
You can't even recognize
what
it anymore. The other day, I just made a decision. I'm gonna use up my stuff. So the other day, I had made, Nikki came. We call it a general. The general came to visit. And so I had asked her, what do you want? Blah, blah, blah. So she wanted salmon. So I bought salmon, made it, had 2 pieces left over. And I had 1 ear of corn left over. And I said, I'm not going to waste this. I'm going to do something with it. So guess what? I made salmon patties, salmon cakes. And I took that corn and cut the kernels off the corn and threw that in my salmon cakes too. Because I said, I'm not going to waste this corn. And you know what? It came out pretty good. So just experimenting. What's the worst that could happen? It doesn't taste good and you have to get rid of it. That's the worst that could happen. Well, you won't get rid of it anyway if you don't use it. So try it. You may come up with some interesting ways to use your leftovers. And I would love to hear anything new that you're doing, that was one of the things I think I liked about the Faithful Families. People were coming up with ideas like, oh, I do this. I do it this way. I threw that this way. And I would love that for this group. Hey, Sister Yvonne, I see your hand, girl.
Yeah. What you can also do is, because of technology nowadays, if you have certain ingredients, you can put them into Google and say, what can I do with this?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Absolutely.
Now, something that I only eat once in a while, and I've decided tomorrow I'm going to make, I think they call it broiled radish salad.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah, because they're saying that if you broil radishes just for a couple of minutes, it takes that peppery taste out. And that's it sounded really interesting. So I'm going to go out and buy some radishes today.
Well, let us know next month how that works out, because that sounds pretty interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, Susan, just a short thing. I'm not going to give you the whole thing because we got to incorporate this 5 to 7 veggies a day. I do want you to know when they talk about that, they mean portions. So if you have, let's say you have spinach. I'm just going to throw that out there. Let's say you have spinach. A half a cup of cooked spinach is considered one portion or one serving. So if you eat a whole cup of, I just love spinach. So I'm going to eat a cup of spinach. That's actually considered 2 of your servings, 2 of your 5 to 7 servings. So it's,
is that
it's
a
not
cup
just-
cooked or is that a cup cooked or before it's cooked?
Spinach is cooked. If you're doing raw spinach, say a salad, then what you need to do is then 1 cup is considered a serving if you're doing raw. Dark green leafies, 1 cup is a serving raw. Half a cup is a serving if it's cooked.
Didn't know that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So that's one of the things. It's also because it doesn't say what it says 5 to 7 servings of fruits and vegetables a day.
Okay, good to know.
Okay, well, I'm gonna have to make a meal and incorporate 5 to 7 fruits and vegetables in it and see what we come up with.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have mindful eating, label reading, incorporating fruits and vegetables into the diet, pharmaceuticals, drug food interactions, Mediterranean diet, cooking demos, anything else. You all came up with some really good topics today.
I read this book called Staying Sharp at Any Age or something like that by
Okay.
Gupta. What's his name? See, Staying Sharp.
Sanjay Gupta. Sanjay Gupta.
But you said that you take this, like, you said it in family, friends and family or whatever, faithful families. You said, oh, I should have took my whatever supplement. Like you know, they say we have senior moments, right? And you said something like, oh, I didn't take my whatever memory supplement. I think you said that. And so.
For that moment, I was being facetious. I probably either said Prevagen or I might have said Ginkgo biloba. I was being a little bit facetious.
Okay, you did. But it's like all of these in the book that I read by Sanjay Gupta, and I got it for free through my job because he spoke at my job. But it's like it all talked about, he spent time talking about diet, and how mostly diet can impact your memory, mm-hmm. right? As you age, diet mm-hmm. and exercise impacts everything as you age. But mm-hmm. it was interesting to hear him talk, spend a couple of chapters on how diet helps you.
Okay. Diet and memory. Maybe I'll do some research on that and see what I come up with, because I'll be honest with you, as I'm starting to mature and turn into fine wine, that's the upside. You can fine wine. The downside is you forgot where the corkscrew was. So, I mean, it's true. I find myself, and sometimes it worries me a little, but then I say, you know, the other thing with us is we are, I think part of it is generation too, because you know the millennial generation is like, "Psh, I can't do nothing about it, so I ain't gonna worry about it." We tend to worry about everything. You know, is the family okay? Are the grandkids okay? Is this okay? Is the husband okay? Am I taking care of myself? Am I doing the doctor? Blah 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 blah. So sometimes I think we're just in so many places. Our mind is in so many places, doing so many calculations and things at one time. That may have something to do with it, but I'm going to do some research for you. Let me see what we can come up with.
I think the internet helps us too, because when I do have those like, oops, what, you know, I always could go online.
Google is Google is your best friend.
Yes.
Best
Yeah,
friend.
like, okay, that's, you know, I want to watch something, but I can't remember the name of the show. You know, I'll just start Googling some things that I remember about it and it just pops out.
Mm-hmm. And Sister Paulette said something, and I guess I'm gonna make this my last thing, because at least we got 7 good categories that we can work with. But Sister Paulette, another vaccination that we don't think about a lot, but I'm just putting it out there for everybody, but this is something we don't think about a lot. Tetanus, every 10 years.
Oh, every 10
You
years.
need
Yeah, I get
a
mine.
tetanus, guys, okay?
Yep.
No, nothing, you didn't step on a rusty nail today,
Nope.
but if your tetanus is up to date, we don't have to worry about it. So that's another one of those shots. All the things that you talked about, the pneumovax, the shingles vaccine, your flu, don't forget your flu vaccine.
Yep.
Now, the thing with the flu vaccine, remember, flu vaccine is a guesstimate. You do realize that, right? Unlike some of your other vaccines, smallpox, whatever, flu is a guesstimate. They kind of look at, right now, it's flu season in the Southern Hemisphere. They're looking at what kind of flu they're seeing in the Southern Hemisphere. They say, okay, we're seeing this flu, and this flu. We're going to put it together in a shot, and that's what we're going to have for the flu shot next year for the Northern Hemisphere. So it's a little bit of a guesstimate. It's usually fairly accurate, but we still need to take precautions too. Okay, so that's another one, tetanus. Sometimes we forget about our tetanus shot. Anything else? Any other topic? Last call. Okay, well, coming forward, anytime you think of something, please let me know. Text me, call me, I don't care, it doesn't matter. Text me, call me, or let me know on the Zoom when we have our Zooms. And these are things, because they're what you're interested in. These are things that we're definitely going to be talking about. Okay, going forward. I hope today was somewhat enlightening. I know it wasn't as structured as we usually make it, but I realized, I'm like, after 2 years, I need to ask them what they're interested in. Okay, so we'll see what we can do going forward. We might have to do a little food demo. I think I might like that. All right, guys, listen, love you, love you, love you. Have an amazing Resurrection weekend. May God bless you and your families. I miss you all so much, but at least we could stay in touch this way. So love you guys. Have a blessed one.
Love
You
Take
too.
care.
Bye-bye.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.